friends, welcome back to my crafty space. My name is Crystal Idunyate, and today I am working once again in my Week in the Life journal for 2022. Today we are working on my last day in this notebook, which is Sunday. I do have a couple of bonus pages that I will be putting together next week at the very end of this album, but I am so excited to be on the final official day of this project. Similar to all of the past process videos that I've done for this notebook, I will be quickly going through some of the process of how I am constructing my pages and putting them into the notebook, and then we'll spend a majority of the time talking about the stories that I chose to document and the photos that I am including in my album this time around. So let's go ahead and dive into this notebook. All right, so let's get started on our layouts for Sunday. I'm going to be working on this the same as I have been all the other 6 days of the week, and that is to first assemble my individual photos, so to add whatever embellishments I want to them, whatever interactive functionality I want to them, and then once I have everything ready to go, I will add adhesive to the back side of the cards and the photos and stick them directly into my notebook. This is the last of my transparency flip outs. So these were the 10x8 transparencies that were released in 2022. I am adding them on top of it's technically a 6 by 8.5 inch photo, but because the transparencies were 8.25 inches tall, I trimmed them down to 6 inches by the 8.25. So the portion that I have remaining from all of these transparencies ends up being roughly, 4 inches wide, and it has the hole punches. So I can totally use those at some other point for a 3x8 album. And who knows what I'll document with them, but I have them available for when I want them. I added the abbreviated Sunday, the gold foil Sunday with a black phrase on top. And then that is covering a photo of my daughter holding her baby giraffe, her little Lovey, out for the real giraffes to see when we visited the zoo on Sunday. I loved having some planned activities for the weekend for this week in the life because it did really encourage me to keep taking photos even in the weekend when typically this project becomes a little tiresome and a lot of folks might fall off the wagon of taking photos. And really, whatever photos you take is great, whether it's one photo or 100 photos, it really doesn't matter. It's all about documenting the different portions of your days or the different things that make up what a week in your life looks like right now. For me personally, though, it was nice to have these activities because it did help me to take more photos than I might have on a weekend where we didn't have anything going on. You also saw me build in my 6x4 pieces of life journaling card. This time I added the top portion of some wet food that we've been feeding the cats. I had a bag, a little cutout section of a Tim Hortons bag where we went to go get donuts and coffee on our way to the zoo. I have a small portion of the map from the Detroit Zoo, which I printed offline since they don't have paper copies at the actual zoo anymore, just trying to keep things really eco-friendly there and not have a bunch of garbage or people who are throwing away the maps. So I did go online and print that off, but then cut it down to the 2x2. I have a cutout piece of the coffee that we have been drinking all week long. And I also have one more section of art that my daughter had created, just stickers on some paper with some of her drawings as well. The plastic phrase current that you see there was the second half of the first half of the larger piece that said current routine. And so I had cut off routine and I used that on a previous day. For this one, I used it to create 4 different sections. So the title says current, and then the subtitle says a few details. Underneath that, I have a grid where I have created sections for each family member And then inside of the grid of 4, I have created a sub-grid of 6, I believe, 6 little spots where I have currentlies for each person. So I have currently reading, watching, listening, making, going, and loving. And I did that for all 4 of our family members, myself, my husband, and our 2 kids. I really loved having a spot to document those little details about each individual person. And it was a fun way to pull out some different stamps to create the icons that represent the different currentlies. I have fully embellished everything, so now I'm just going to go ahead and stick it into the album, starting with the flip out page there. It gets a little weird for how to put everything in because, as you will see here at the end of this video, my notebook is pretty darn bulky. So it's just trying to make sure that everything is pressed down and is as flat and secure as possible. The grid of photos here, just like all of my other days, includes all of the photos that I wanted to have in my album, but that I didn't necessarily need in an enlarged version. Those are photos that I might use at other points in time for other projects, but I love having them included in this as well. This page is my What I Want to Remember page. I have the same grid of 5 different photos. The first one there is a picture of my daughter and myself, and that's the one I chose to have a little bit larger. For that one, I wrote, I want to remember that even though being a mom is hard work, I love it and I wouldn't trade it for the world. The next one here is a picture of my daughter hugging her baby giraffe in the middle of the playground at the zoo. This one I wrote, I want to remember still after all these years, baby giraffe is so loved. Izzy has had her baby giraffe Lovey ever since she was 3 months old, and she is now 7 and will be 8 in January. So she's, what is that, 7.5-ish? So baby giraffe has been around for many, many years. The next photo is a picture of my husband helping my daughter get ready in the morning, and I said, I want to remember how grateful I am for a partner who is such a good dad. The next photo here is a picture of Jonah sitting in a window, and in the background you can see the polar bear swimming in the water. I said, I want to remember that the zoo is our special place. And then the final photo is a picture of Aaron lifting up some blankets and revealing the kids in their blanket forts. And so for that one, I wrote, I want to remember how much I love that Izzy and Jojo like to be apart, but also together, plus blanket forts equals winning. So the fact that they enjoy their time apart, but also like to be apart together, if that makes sense, is something that just brings me a lot of joy and something I can totally relate to. This next photo here is the one that's going on the currently page. So I'm working a little bit backwards here, putting in the full page photo on the currently page. That one is the kids playing in this big mist puddle in the middle of the zoo. And then we're going to flip back a page just because it's easier to work with the bulk in this way in order to add my last full page photo and then the grid of journaling cards. So the photo here is one of my absolute favorites from the zoo. It's Izzy playing on the play set, and she's going down the fireman pole and then has her baby giraffe going down it as well. And then just has like this crazy look on her face. So it made me laugh, and I knew I wanted that one to be one of the larger photos for this album because yeah, it's just great. And then the grid of photos, or the grid it's not really of photos, just of cards and photos that's going next to it, is the 6x4 Stuff of Life card. Then I've got a journaling card that's just meant to be filler and a break for the eyes. It says, let us remember that we are all living a story. And then the final photo is a 3x4 of Jonah giving Aaron a kiss on the cheek. Just a really sweet photo of the two of them. This page, I generally like to have the photos go together. So whatever the larger photo is, to have the smaller one make sense with it, if that makes sense. All right, so that is going to complete my day. So let's go ahead, slow down, and go through a final flip through. All right, friends, that completes Sunday in my Week in the Life album, which concludes all of the individual days from the week. I do have a couple of pages here in the back where I have some plans for things I would like to include, and I will share the process for that next week. I did go ahead and zoom us in so you can see a little final flip through here of the pages we worked on in today's video. Love the way that this album is coming together. We are almost done. We are so close to the end, and you can see just how chunky this book is. But I can still turn all of the pages and see the photos and the journaling, and everything is still very much visible in here. So to me, that is a win. The binding itself is totally fine here on the back side and in the middle. It's not falling apart. It's not ripping apart. I think it's going to be just fine. Here's what it looks like without those final pages in it. So it does not like stay closed super well. If I lay it down, it does kind of stay closed. But again, this is going to go inside of a pleather folio that's going to hold it shut and on my shelf. All right, friends, I hope that you enjoyed seeing today's pages come together. If you did, I would love a thumbs up on this video down below, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. I am going to be back here next week, same time, same place, and we're going to finish the last couple of pages in this book so we can officially call this project done. I hope to see you back here then. Until then, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye, friends.